with, let me ask you about today's headline, which has, of course, been denied by the Infosys founders, the possibility of Infosys founders exiting the company. Have you any information on where this has come from? Was there any conversation that you've had with the founders on the possibility of this at all?
I have no idea where it is coming from. I mean, Mr. Murthy very categorically denied it, and I think that we should leave it at that and not further spread that. This is what I also mentioned in my response and in our company's response. You know, the founders are incredibly distinguished people with an achievement. I mean, it's now three years. I think in a couple of days it's going to be 3 years since I was announced CEO, and what they have done is something absolutely extraordinary. I still, 3 years later, I look at it as something amazing that they have done. And so whatever they do is something that you know, I have a very deep trust for and respect for. But they have clearly denied it, and I think we should leave it at that and not further spread that.
I don't want to further speculation on this particular matter, as you pointed out, and there is a denial that's come in from Mr. Murthy. Eventually, if things turn out differently, who knows? But what I want to ask you is that has there been any effort to try and bridge the communication deficit that seems to have creeped in? Is there any effort on both sides to try and build bridges, so to speak?
Of course, there has been a lot of communication. I think you should really ask the board this question. Looking back on the last 6 months, I find that I appreciate the fact that there is a tremendous amount of interest in these areas. But if you just look at the atmosphere that we are managing and steering the company in, it is an incredibly challenging atmosphere. We are doing some really big things, really powerful things, really difficult things. And we need all our attention, all our focus on getting that done for our clients, for our employees, and especially for our shareholders. And it is hard enough to do that and not have to deal with these things. You know, I have always said, I was hired by Mr. Murthy, and I have always had a very fond, warm relationship with him and the other founders, especially with him. And that has not changed in all of this. And the governance-related matters, they have raised that. The company has and the board has repeatedly addressed this, and I would like to just leave it at that.
So, you know, the Cyril Shroff mandate is to try and sort out or put together a framework when it comes to corporate governance. But there's another committee that's been set up, and this is a panel that Mr. Seshasai, Ravi Venkatesan, the co-chairman, as well as board member D.N. Prahlad are now part of this committee. Now, what exactly is the role and relevance of this committee? My understanding is that this committee is a sort of bridge between the board and the management. But why the need for a committee to be a bridge between the board and the management?
No. See, this is every once in a while the board forms committees to do things, and for example, a few years ago we did not have an investment committee, finance and investment committee, and we created one. I believe we also created relatively recently a risk committee. So different boards have different committees at different moments in time, given the nature of the business environment and the circumstances that we find ourselves in. Now, if you just look at the last couple of years, the pace of automation has increased, the geopolitical environment that we find ourselves in, and so forth. So one of the things that we decided this year was that these three members who are particularly from the board, who are particularly close to the business. So, you know, D.N. Prahlad used to be a part of Infosys, and he's a software guy his entire life. Ravi obviously was at Microsoft before, and Sesh has spent a lot of time with me and so on. So one of the things that they have done is establish this group of three to help management. Because if you look at our management, I live in California, I'm constantly on the road. You know, I flew in here this afternoon, and I'm on the ground here only for 7 hours. And our leadership team is all around the world. So to ensure that the kinds of transformational work that needs to be done, that there is a high bandwidth connection between the management and the board, that this committee was created.
Okay.